The City of Bristol, providing beautiful parks, economic development, and a family-friendly community.
All right, it's technically 6:46 right now, but we'll call the joint meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Start with agenda item number 1, approval of the minutes from the regular joint meeting on January 11th, 2021.
Move approval?
Second.
Any changes, amendments, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
Your Honor, can we just introduce everyone who's here so that, because I know there's some people in the
Yep.
audience and I'm not sure I've got them all.
I know, that's a good point. We'll start with my far right. Go ahead, Chairman Smith.
John Smith.
Orlando Kelfi, Board of Finance.
Sebastian Piniotto, City Council.
Jolene Lusitani, City Council. Cheryl Tebow, City Council.
Jeff Caggiano, Mayor.
Andrew House, City Council.
Sue Tyler, City Council.
Jackie Olson, City Council.
David Mikowski.
Glenn Heiser.
John Mace.
Marie O'Brien.
Mark Whitford.
And anybody on Zoom? I don't think so. Good. Tarish, good? All right, we'll move to number 2, the consent calendar.
Move approval.
Second.
Great. Anybody wish to take anything off the consent calendar? No? Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. I'll let you go ahead, Therese.
Item 3, to transfer $20,000 from the general fund contingency account to the human resources operating budget for the professional fees.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 4,
To transfer $24,000 within the Public Works operating budget to purchase 4 pickup trucks.
So move.
Second.
any comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 5,
To make an additional appropriation of $7 million within the Capital Projects Schools Fund.
Motion to approve.
have a second?
Second.
And Orlando, was that you?
Orlando. Yep, Orlando gets a second. Oh, no, sorry, Sebastian gets a second.
Sebastian, thank you.
We just had the previous meeting before, so this is one that has come up to the agenda quickly. I don't know if anybody has any questions on this. This has been talked about a couple times, but I do want to pause here to see if anybody missed the last meeting and has any questions. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 6,
Resolution appropriating an additional $7 million for the Green Hills School HVAC replacement project for an aggregate appropriation of $8,475,000, and to waive the reading of the resolution, but to include it as part of the minutes.
Move approval? Second.
Smith is the first, Tebow is the second.
Thank you.
I assume no more deliberation or comments. All those in favor? Oh, resolution roll call, true, that's right, sorry, thank you. Go ahead, Teresa, you want to call the roll call for me?
Certainly. Smith?
Yes.
Kelfi?
Yes.
Piniotto?
Yes.
Lusitani?
Yes.
Tebow?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Olson?
Yes.
The chair is yes.
Mikowski?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, she looked at me.
Oh, Heiser?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Mace.
Mace, thank you. And Wickford, thank you.
That gets complicated.
We're all set.
You good?
Yeah.
All right, number 7 now.
Resolution authorizing the issuance of bonds, notes, or other obligations in the amount of $7 million to finance the appropriation for the Green Hills School HVAC replacement project for an aggregate borrowing authorization of $7,375,000, and to waive the reading of the resolution, but to include it as part of the minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
Second was Orlando. Very good. Any comments? All right, roll call.
Smith?
Yes.
Calfee?
Yes.
Paniotto?
Yes.
Lusitani?
Yes.
Tebow?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Olson?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes?
Makowski?
Yes.
Nace? O'Brien?
Yes.
And Heiser?
Yes.
And Whitford? Thank you.
Good, Therese?
We're good.
All right, we'll go to number 8, which is
Monthly expense, revenue and expense report presentation by the controller.
So good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the tax revenues that were sent out to you in my report. The current tax revenues that were sent out, this report was run like a week before the final tax collections came in. So on the report that you have, total collections were at like 72.1% of the budget for the current levy. Since the report went out, the tax office had collected $22.6 million. So that actually brings the collection for the current levy only to 86.2% overall from the budget. And I just went back just to look at it comparatively. Last year was not really a good year to compare it to because there was that's legislation where we could defer the taxes until April 1st. We didn't have that the year before, so we went back to 2020, and we were at just about the 87% as well. So everything is very much in line with getting back to the historical percentages in the collection. That being said, on the report, on the charts that you have, the real estate collections actually are 97.4% compared to the 95.6%. Personal property was collected at 96% through the final report. On your report, you only had 83%, so that's good that all that personal property came in. And motor vehicle went up slightly to 91%. But I just thought it would be important to just give you that information because the tax revenues, they do a great job and, try to get those in. So now she is sending out all the notices on those that did not send their taxes in. So that'll hopefully bring in the additional revenues we need through the end of June. Building permits, again, are exceeding projections. They're at 93.6. Conveyance taxes has already surpassed that. And as you know, investment earnings, doing the best we can, but the rates are still relatively low on investment earnings. But other than that, nothing significant to report there on a negative. State grants, I just want to talk about that for a second. In the past, on the education cost sharing grant, we've always had an adjustment that we would find out about in around the January timeframe. And it was always an adjustment that was done on, once the audit was complete, on the special ed excess cost grant. So once that was audited by the state, there was always an adjustment. And over the last couple of years, it's ranged between $200,000 to $500,000. Based on what we see right now, that number is not going to fluctuate much as of right now. They do one more adjustment in April, but right now it's only a difference of about $30,000. So I was happy to see that when I saw that report come through from the state because that was always one that you couldn't really plan for. And then the only other grant, I don't know if you look at the revenue report, but there were two grants that were combined into one, and the state changed the way they were doing the state-owned property and the hospital grant. And they changed that formula. We're actually receiving another $458,000 on that grant from what we had anticipated. So that is something that we watched when we were doing the budget, but until the state budget was finally approved, we didn't want to plan on it until that was complete. Other items, the ARPA task force is meeting continually. They did meet yesterday. All the projects are in, that portal's closed, and there's quite a significant of projects that the task force has to look at, and I'll let the mayor speak to that when he wants to. Right now, the plan is to look at all those projects and have them, I think, approved by the end of February, beginning of March. So at that point, they'll start coming back to the Board of Finance and this board for approval. So we can move forward with that. Just an update on the audit. We finally received a draft last Friday, so we're going through that right now. Everything is pushing on for February 28th date to issue. So we're working really hard to get that done. In addition to that, we also have some state reporting we have to do on the CRF money that we received last year, and our deadline on that is February 15th. So the office is very busy right now trying to get all this done. We are in the middle of budget. We start our budget meetings on February 22nd, and we're also working on a bond issue. So with that, I think I'm done, but right now what I'm going to do is I did ask Tom Damato, our assessor, to actually speak about the grand list for 2021. He has some very good news, and I don't want to steal his thunder, so I'll let him speak to that.
Good evening, everybody. It's a momentous occasion that I'm here before you to report some really outstanding statistics, and I hope I do it justice in sum total. The first thing that I want to say is that it's not a single effort. It's not from me. It's definitely a partnership effort with my staff, and they're really deserving of so much of the credit. They really put in the long hours and do their due diligence. We're probably going to, overturn some things here as we go through the calendar year, and things may pop up that will need some correction. But I tell you, they just do a phenomenal job. Last year, we had to get to the statistics, 1.87% increase. This year, we're over 4%. So, in that vein, real estate went up just under $14.5 million. Or just over 0.4%. The personal property list grew by $41.5 million roughly, and that's just over 11%. But there's an understanding there that there's a straight line depreciation schedule with the movable assets in businesses, personal property, furniture, fixtures, and equipment, that it declines by 10% annually. So technically speaking, we're actually up a little bit over 20%. I'll go into a little bit more detail on that, but just getting to the broader base, motor vehicles was really the huge home run. That portion of the grand list went up 25.64%, or over $108.5 million. The key attribute to that quick point in that conversation is we had a number of new vehicle purchases. I'll go over that in a little bit more detail, and then think of what it would cost you to buy your existing vehicle from a dealer, meeting Lemon Law's rules. So with that being said, let's go a little bit more into depth over the entire grand list. We had the Great Recession and the fallout of 2010, 2011, and ultimately impacted our 2012 revaluation, whereby the overall grand list lost over $541 million. It's a segue into hopefully creating a base that we are now in revaluation for 2022. And I would also like everybody to look forward to the fact that real estate values pretty much across the board, other than some pockets in retail, have seen significant increases. And the revaluation company just hit the ground running after the grand list was signed. So we're starting to compile statistics, but I think we all realize so many of us have been active around the real estate market, seeing what types of improvements people have put into their properties, that appreciation and factors within the economy have bolstered it to a very high level. So with that being said, in 2011, we had about a $4.3 billion net grand list. This grand list, with all of this appreciation, without a revaluation being factored in, is a little bit over 4.2 billion. So we've almost recouped everything that the grand list lost since the Great Recession, which is phenomenal. So to hit on some of that 14.5 million, we have a phased-in assessment at 15 Riverside Avenue, Bristol Health. That building is 100% leased by Bristol Health to a lessor, and that phase-in brought in just under $1.6 million. We have the apartments at 3 North Street. They're also a phased-in assessment. They saw a substantial increase of a little bit over $800,000. We have a couple of solar arrays that were just recently added that appreciated some raw land acreage uses to overall improved values. And we also have upgrades at 10 Main Street that the Damato family did for itself and some interior tenants. We also have the Carrier Construction, 301 Main Street. There was about $500,000 there in improvements, and overall, 444 out of just over 21,000 taxable parcels received some type of net increase in assessed values. 57 of those properties increased over $100,000. And then, of course, we have subdivisions that are actively going on. One was Rock Builders at Great Pyrenees Way, Laurentide Glen with Trademark Developers, and the Lemieux family with the Gillette Way condominiums, just to hit some high points in that realm. So now we'll go on to personal property, and I tend to go quickly through things. Just stop me if you have any question on any of this as we go through it. Oh, and also one point that I missed in that 4.3%. So statistically, to Diane's points on the collection rate, if we just used a 97% collection rate on the $164.5 million, there's the grand total increase to the net grand list year over year. You'd bring in about $6.1 million on the existing mill rate without changing the mill rate. So going back on to personal property, of the roughly 2,300 accounts that we have that are taxable, 943 of the accounts increased in value, and we added over 220 new accounts. And that's really important to the city of Bristol. I talked with the East Hartford assessor, and they saw a decrease in their personal property grand list this year. Bristol has always been, in my 13 plus years being here as city assessor, we've always seen a good amount of growth. And truth be told, a lot of that stems from ESPN. So even though ESPN itself as its own entity saw some disposal of assets, they had Disney streaming operating in the background that added a net of $27 million to that portion of the grand list. So you could see that they're roughly half of the 41 million that we saw in overall increases. They're just a phenomenal city resident. They prove themselves every year. The other top taxpayers in the personal property category that increased was Yankee Gas, went up just under 6 million. Eversource about 3.2 million. Combined Metals took over the Tice Steel property over on Broad Street, and they had about $2.5 million in net increase. Some of that will go away next year. There was a little disruption in some of the mail handling, and a lot of that equipment is going to be M65 exempt when they reapply next year. So that's some. Stop and Shop also did a major renovation, and also personal property and new construction equipment for the Damato Construction Company. Comcast, Dr. Gervais with Family Eye Care also had a substantial addition to her business on King Street. So now into the motor vehicle grand list. So I know that I did send out to the city council members. I did my best because I was able to find 36,000 matches of existing vehicles year over year. And the 26%, I think it's also important to note that the Connecticut Assessor Association, we recommend to the Office of Policy and Management one guide to be used in the valuation of motor vehicles. It always comes back at us annually that we're using the wrong guide. But if you're in Southington, Manchester, any other jurisdiction in the state, the go-to guide is the NADA valuation guide. So what we actually found through the Motor Vehicle Committee, I'm president of the Connecticut Assessor Association, is that the norm was about 20 to 25% broad increase in year-over-year statistics on net grand list growth with motor vehicle values. So from that standpoint, we did have some unmatched vehicles. Summit Crane had a crane out at the Doubletree Hotel, obviously putting up the steel fabrication for the new convention center. So we picked up about $1.1 million on that one crane and assessed value. So there are some anomalies that are out there that really also bolstered that part of the grand list. All in all, it's a little bit bittersweet because when the assessor reports good news, it generally means revenue and something's coming out of our pocket, but it means the same for all of us. I'm here for any of your questions. Sure.
On the Disney streaming, is it because they built a building to accommodate this process?
We did reach out to them, so the Anaheim, California contact that we have didn't get back to us. It's been in Bristol quite a while. Its previous assessment was about $5 million, maybe $6 million. And so the new assets that came into Bristol, what I was trying to actually nail down is whether or not, because it is all Disney worldwide or, the Disney Corporation, we're trying to figure out if ESPN is using the assets or we've always known that Disney streaming is here as a hub in Bristol. But technically speaking, it's just Disney Plus streaming. Nothing else to do, as far as we know, with ESPN or any other entity. Mm-hmm. So in current facilities, no new structure, any of that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? No. Thanks, Tom. And Diane's back there too, so I know she gave her report. Any questions on her report?
Thank you.
Great. So I think we move on to number 9. Any other business coming before this joint board? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
John, we're adjourned. We'll call the city council meeting for Tuesday, February 8th, 2022 to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's start first with introductions on my far right.
Sebastian Paniotto.
Jolene Lusitani.
Cheryl Tebow.
Andrew Howe.
Sue Tyler.
Jacqueline Olson.
And Jeff Caggiano. I would like to take a moment of silence for a loss that we've had very recently, somebody very distinguished in this city. Craig Yard, as we all know, passed away, and there's not a person in here that probably doesn't know Craig or been touched by Craig and what he's done for the city. So we'll ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. Go on to number 2. the approval of the minutes of the regular city council meeting on January 11th, 2022. I'll entertain a motion.
So
Move
moved.
approval? Whoop, okay.
Andrew beat you.
Second.
There you go. Cheryl's the second. Any changes, amendments, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Move on to number 3, public participation. We have a very large crowd here tonight. Looking at the public participation, I'm sure that we'll have lots of comments, and most of them are focused on Wheeler Clinic. I will mention to all of you, we did not get Wheeler on the agenda, and we plan to bring it on the agenda. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm going to ask that you stick to 3 minutes of public comment so that we can be fair to everybody and give all those that might want to speak. We have a pretty good list here, and that's one of the biggest Zoom attendances I've ever seen. So I just want to make sure that we adhere to those 3 minutes and that you address the entire body and your comments are focused on your topic and not individuals. That's one thing I'll ask. So first on my list is Anthony Damato. And as Tony gets up, he knows this, but state your name and address for the record, please.
Can you hear me? Anthony Damato, 1960 Perkins Street, former city councilman for the city of Bristol, and I'm here just to be brief. I won't need to do all 3 minutes, and as this is the best part of the meeting. Just want to address the entire membership here about Wheeler Clinic. For me, I think that it's very impactful that you move this expediently and very quickly to motion. It's a very important project for the city of Bristol. I think I speak for many, but right now I'm speaking for me. I think it's very important. I think it's a keystone and one of the pieces in all of the different developments that are either happening now or will happen soon. There are going to be multiple projects going on at the same time in Bristol. I don't know if I ever remember that since I've been alive in downtown, so it's going to be huge. It sends a message to folks in the city and outside the city, and messaging is very important. It's important to citizens who live here. It's important to investors. It's important to developers and so on and so forth. Messaging. It's about getting the messaging right. It's also about information. When you have the right information, you can get the messaging right. So I implore you to get the messaging right tonight. And that's all I have to say. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Next on my list is Sandra Bogdansky.
Good evening. I may take a couple seconds more than 3 minutes. I've practiced this quite a few times today. My name is Sandra Stupka Bogdansky. I live at 235 Fernhill Road. I'm here tonight to express my support for the Wheeler Clinic project and our downtown redevelopment. Now, I'm a commissioner on the Parks Board. I'm also on the Diversity Council, and I'm a former vice chair of the Diversity Council, and I formerly served on the Charter Revision Commission. Now, I consider myself to be very involved in what's going on in the city. I was born and raised here, and like many of you, I'm very proud of this city. I take a lot of pride here. Now, to say that I was shocked at the December vote is an absolute understatement. I was ashamed, disgusted, embarrassed. These are all words that still don't touch on how upset I was and still am. Now, I've read statements from some of you who voted no. Some of those statements make claims that as you went door to door, you heard from your constituents that they wanted restaurants, shopping, and entertainment. They want downtown developed. That is what you heard. This is probably the singular topic every person in the city of Bristol would agree on. We all want that done. What you did not hear is say no to Wheeler. And you know why I know this? Because as you went door to door, if that's what you were hearing, you would have done your research. You would have known the details, and you would have been prepared to vote on it at your first city council meeting. Now, November 9th, the day after most of you were sworn in, you weren't prepared to vote on that. The agenda was sent on November 4th. You had 5 days to prepare again. If this was something you all heard as you went door to door, say no to Wheeler, you would have been prepared. You would have done your research. There was plenty of information available. Instead, the vote was delayed until December 14th, so you all could, I'm going to quote, hear the pitch and review the concept in a meeting with Justin Malley and potentially with Wheeler. I'm unaware if those meetings occurred. There's no public record I could find on that. But it is my understanding that none of you met or discussed this project with anyone on the Economic Development Committee during the month-long delay. Not one of you. Interestingly, one other thing that none of you heard was my voice, or the voice of my husband, or my mother, or the voices of probably a lot of the people that are on the call and that are in this room. And the reason you didn't hear from me, because you didn't knock on my door. None of you came to see me to hear what I had to say or what my thoughts were. So tonight I'm here to tell you that as a constituent, I am a taxpayer and I fully support Wheeler Clinic's partial sale. I am so nervous, but I'm going to get through this. The last thing I want to say is in my role serving the city on the Parks Board and in the Diversity Council, one of the things we focus on all the time is accessibility to services. Accessibility for our parks programs, mental health services, especially during the pandemic. There's a lot of people in the city that don't have accessibility. They don't have transportation. They don't have that access. Why would you not want to allow a premier provider of vital services to build their headquarters in one of the most accessible locations in the city? Does mental health matter less than the physical health services just feet away at Bristol Health? I don't think so. Please do the right thing and vote for this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Next up is Lisa Lineburner.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Lineburner, and I live on 32 Lawson Street in District 2. I am a lifelong resident of Bristol, and I am speaking in favor of the Wheeler project. I live a few blocks from the Center Mall Square, so this discussion is near and dear to my heart. I am a proud resident of the West End. Contrary to popular belief, there are nice homes and involved citizens in this part of town. My neighbors and I walk to the auto shows on North Main Street, to the concerts in Rockwell Park, to get smoothies at Pure Foods, and to have lunch at Parkside Cafe. We attend all the various church festivals in the fall, and we support the downtown. I follow the development of the Bristol Health Building and can say it has been wonderful to see life on that corner again. When the plan for Wheeler Clinic was released, it was the talk of my neighborhood. We were excited to see that more attention was finally being paid to this forgotten end of town. So, when the plan was surprisingly voted down, it caused confusion and anger. How can this council believe that keeping the parcel empty in hopes for something else to come along is better than approving this Wheeler Clinic headquarters? I reached out to my representatives, and the feedback was that the clinic is not the right fit with the planned residential developments in this area. I can only assume that means it's okay to have a facility that provides outpatient physical treatment, but not outpatient mental treatment. I take offense to this. The other feedback was that the clinic will not promote traffic for local business because employees and patrons will only be shopping and eating on lunch breaks. I have worked in Hartford for 24 years. And I can tell you that this is untrue. Look at the news. Without the foot traffic of the insurance companies, the Hartford restaurants and the shops are suffering, or they've already closed their doors. As I said before, I am a proud resident of the West End. I am asking this council not to let my area be forgotten and pushed aside yet again. We are trusting that you are going to make the right decision.
Thank you. Next up on my list is Sabrina Troche.
Good evening. Sabrina Troche, President CEO of Wheeler. I stand here today in front of you, not only representing Wheeler, but representing the 3,500 individuals that we serve every day here in Bristol. These are your students, your families, your neighbors. The wide range of services that we offer are needed today more than ever, especially today as we're seeing a continued increase in mental health needs. The largest area of growth for Wheeler the last few years has been our behavioral health school-based services. As many of you know, we are in all 13 Bristol public schools. Since 2019, we've seen a 146% increase in referrals coming from those schools. In the last few months, we've received over 300 new referrals. Our kids need us. And Wheeler is committed. Our commitment continues and is stronger than ever to continue to respond to the needs of our youth and the Bristol community. Since the meeting in December, we listened to your concerns. We pursued alternatives and we compromised. We looked at over 10 different sites, and unfortunately, not one of them offered us the flexibility or was viable for a new site for Wheeler, both our integrated health center and our headquarters. We looked at the existing parcel and we reduced the size for the same price. We reduced the parking around the building and will use the existing parking space that is already there. That was always the intent of that parking space. We shifted our building so that it would free up a larger parcel that could go for commercial space while still preserving the city green space, which is such a valuable space for the community. I stand before you today with a project that is shovel ready. I stand before you today with a commitment that I have 160 plus administrative staff that I will bring to this community. That's in addition to the 60 staff I already have here in Bristol. So it would be over 200 staff. I stand here today with my ongoing commitment to Bristol, to the health of its citizens, and to continuing to address the needs in the community. I stand here today ready to invest in Bristol for generations. Wheeler has been around for 53 plus years, and we will be around for a lot longer than that. Another 53, please. That's all I have. I thank you all for listening. Many of you have reached out. I've answered questions. I've welcomed those questions. I hope you have everything that you have. And I really want to partner with you folks and with the city and bring our headquarters here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Ken Rasmussen Teller.
My name is Ken Rasmussen Tuller. I live at 75 Sturbridge Court, and I am on the Planning Commission as well. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I am here to speak in support of the Wheeler Clinic project for Center Square. It is not often that multi-million-dollar businesses look to relocate their headquarters to Bristol. A lot of work has gone into the Wheeler deal, from city officials, ECD department employees, and volunteer ECD commissioners, among countless others over the past year. At the time that each of you took office, this deal was awaiting the formality of the council vote, and the majority of the work had been done. Wheeler has been an excellent community partner for Bristol. Among the obvious services they provide to our community, and much less well known, is that they have donated their services to the city by writing grants to put mental health workers in every public school in Bristol at no cost to our budget. I know some people take issue with another non-tax-paying business taking valuable real estate in Center Square. My response to this is that it's not all about taxes. Consider this: Wheeler is paying a premium of $600,000 for this parcel because their tax status was considered, and this was an agreeable resolution. A taxable business will not pay this premium. This amounts to roughly 20 years' worth of property tax. Any smart taxable business would apply for a 10-year tax abatement and likely be granted it, which means they won't pay full property taxes or any for 10 years. If your concern is property tax, I would ask if you want this money in the city's pockets now or in 20 to 30 years from now. Again, though, it's not all about taxes. Wheeler's plan will bring new and relocated jobs to Bristol. Wheeler previously said that their employees are back in the office at least 4 days per week now. And I remind you, their new headquarters is not just an office building, rather a multi-use facility featuring treatment offices where patients will seek services. All of this will bring the much-needed traffic to the downtown area to support current and planned local businesses. With the revised plan being discussed for Wheeler now and the relocation of the green space, there is an additional parcel available for development. I urge you to vote yes on the Wheeler Clinic project tonight so we can continue to strengthen the city's relationship with their organization, all while our economic growth benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Next on the list is Scott Rosato.
My name is Scott Rosato, 472 Stafford Avenue, Bristol. Good evening, Mayor, City Council, everyone on Zoom and in the chambers for this evening's council meeting. With only 3 minutes, I won't speak so much as a constituent, but as a former city councilman, whom with our team worked to ensure what we brought to our community was always in the best interest of our constituents. One of those projects is Wheeler. Not for 1 second, sounds cloudy, not for 1 second would I think that we'd be here today still deciding if Wheeler is the right fit for Center Square. This is not how Bristol conducts business, and if we, the former council, could have foreseen the events, I would have requested a special meeting to ensure Wheeler secured the commitment that Bristol made to your organization prior to the election. I understand you're faced with a difficult decision this evening, a decision that will change the look of downtown. Over the last few years, Bristol has become the city that leads by example, and we'd like to keep it that way. Other towns reach out and ask for our opinions in almost every department, and most of our strength comes from behind the scenes of department heads who work with chairs and commissioners on various boards, like the ECD Commission. Their hard work isn't recognized enough. And I'd like to take this time just to thank them all for what they do. A note to City Council. I'm not saying you have to agree with everything they say, but you have to be open-minded, listen respectfully, and find the balance that the majority of our community will benefit from, especially if you, family, or friends are not in favor of the issue at hand. At the end of the day, you're being true to yourself and the oath that you took to represent the city of Bristol. While you place your vote this evening, please consider the following. Wheeler's efforts in continuing to support our community by considering other options, answering residents' concerns, and accepting a smaller location for the same price. The hard work and due diligence of our bipartisan ECD Commission to envision the connection and importance that Wheeler plays as a resource in our community. Justin Malley and his team for their continued efforts to revitalize Bristol's downtown. All the former mayors that have signed a petition and feel this project should move forward. Support of city businesses and stakeholders of Bristol like Tom Barnes, Bristol Hospital, Damatos, members of both the Republican Town Committee and Democratic Town Committee. The work of our prior administration, whom most of us are here this evening in support of you, hoping that you support the written and verbal commitment made to Wheeler and not dismantle the work done. We are all extending ourselves to make sure Bristol is a better tomorrow. So please, again, we don't have to agree on issues, but when we work together, the impact is so much greater. I respectfully request when placing your vote, you vote in favor of Wheeler project moving forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Next up is Jonathan Lukasevic.
My name is Jonathan Lukasevic. I live at 290 Perkins Street, Bristol, Connecticut. I purposely did not write anything because I do not want to take up a lot of time at all. But at the last city council meeting, I was appointed to serve on the youth commission, and today I was sworn in. I just wanted to get up here and say that the whole country, not just Bristol, has a mental health crisis. And we can take a step in the right direction if we allow Wheeler to help us here in Bristol. Like what was already said, we need to make sure that the people who don't have the transportation can get there. We can't bust them all out to New Britain or Plainville. They need that. I graduated in 2020. I didn't have a senior year. It was hard for all of us. And I know so many of the people that I went to high school with go to Wheeler or have other mental health services. I know firefighters and police officers, and probably plenty of the people in this room receive mental health services. So I know you guys need the extra time, and I appreciate that you took the extra time and got a plan that works, and I'm really, really excited and hoping for a yes to the Wheeler Clinic tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Next up on my list is Freddie Sinchi. How you doing, Freddie?
Hello, my name is Freddie Sinchi. My English is not very good looking. 260 Queen Street, Bristol, Connecticut. Of course, I am the only one who is against, I think. Not against, sorry, but since I live around here and I got a business, so just want to make a little something what you guys don't see every day. You say go right now, you can see a lot of the dogs. Nobody clean it because it's empty. So we're going to have one more empty space. And if all the hospital things are the great, that's why around the Bristol hospital is not nice, great restaurants or business, and we're trying to get business in here. So I got, I can see, I don't know who is the CEO or where she lives. She lives in Bristol. They're going to come to Bristol to get the kids to buy to shopping in dollar store or eat in the McDonald's. They're not going to come here. If you guys living here, you should bring something in where I meet people in Unionville the other day. Say nothing in Bristol. So my clients right now, of course, I got the best orchestra over there. We can bring business. I got 11 years bringing people from different countries, from different cities, from everything. So it's possible. So just as I said, everything is chocolate. I know against that, but I mean, you have to listen to the people who lives here, who is going to shopping, who is going to eat, who is going. All the money people saying the Route 6 is going to be but when what is going to get the money? They're going to spend here. They go to somewhere else. They are big corporations. There is no moving the economy in Bristol, and I see. And I talk to everybody. I talk to Mr. Elling, to everyone. And, it's not helping. Of course, I'm not against the health. It's very important. Education and policemen, security, that's very important. I recognize that. And it's across my properties, 3 buildings empty. Now, the other one, a big one, a white elephant, they said. A white thing. And white will be cheaper. Just go over there and fill it out and fix it, and all this save you money. And in the taxes, sometimes I hear the hospitals don't pay taxes. Use the $600,000 will be maybe in 1 year they already pay off the $600,000. So you can bring, and you start from North Main Street. Even my daughter, or anybody 9 years old, they can say, why so many hospitals in Bristol? So that's. Just I passing, I say, I'm not going to change anything, just somebody have to say. And I know everybody hate me, but because not have to agree with me. Diversity is what we bring in. Like I said, I coming from other country, I coming from other city, I don't speak English, I don't have papers, but I call my attention, one of my tenants, they say, if Freddie can do it, everybody can do it. So Bristol can do it, and they are showing it's a beautiful city. That's why I'm here. I will stay. I grab my kids. I will have my grandsons and my family. That's why I care. I see so much drugs, and if you go to Hartford Hospital, is around there is drug dealers all the time. So that's going to happen here. Actually, it's happening all the time. I got videos I can prove you, and it's like it's really the mental health. Go swimming, go run, go eat healthy. We don't need too much McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, or pizza place. If you're healthy, you don't need it. So, right, so we should be invest that more in education, more in, like I said, in the police. You know, like a
I'm
welcome
going to
to
have to ask
Bristol.
you to kind of wrap it up, all right? Freddie?
Okay, I'm leaving this. Welcome to Bristol. Yeah, no parking for you. Good. Welcome to Bristol. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie. Appreciate it. All right, I don't have anybody else that signed up here. I know that there were a couple of people that came in a little bit later. I saw a hand wave. Come on up, Cindy, you'll be next. And for those that are on Zoom, while we're waiting for Cindy to come up, if you did plan to speak on Zoom, I'm going to ask that you use the feature to raise your hand so that we can kind of queue you up on Zoom if anybody was ready to go. Go ahead.
Mayor and Council, thank you so much for having me here. I am Cindy Bombard, President and CEO of the Central Connecticut Chambers of Commerce. We are a regional chamber. We're 1,600 members strong, serving the communities of Bristol, Burlington, Farmington, Plymouth, Terryville, Wolcott, Plainville, and beyond. And I sent a letter of support to each of you and the mayor yesterday, and I would like to read it in for record, please. Mayor Jeff Caggiano and Bristol City Councilors, the Central Connecticut Chambers of Commerce is writing to you in support of the Wheeler Clinic project. The mission statement of the chamber is businesses working together to promote regional prosperity and community vitality. Without economic growth and regional prosperity, we will not have community vitality. Wheeler Clinic is an outstanding business organization that serves not only Bristol, but the regions of the city and beyond that I have mentioned. Wheeler Clinic has been chosen, Bristol, Connecticut, to be their headquarters. We should be welcoming them. They will bring hundreds of jobs into Bristol's downtown. Those employees, their clients, will bring foot traffic to the businesses of the Bristol community. We are asking for you to vote yes on the economic growth opportunity for the city of Bristol. Sincerely, Cynthia A. Bombard.
Thank you very much. And you'll get a great segue for me into it because I had that and I was ready to read it into the record for the group. I do have one other correspondence that I just want to acknowledge for the record. It's quite lengthy. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I am going to read, I think, what the key part is, and it will be part of the record to share with all of you. It's from David Haberfield. He says, I think we should place more emphasis on the importance of the city realizing tax revenue from our most valuable land where we have the ability to make that choice. Whatever comes next, retail, apartments, or other commercial, all of that will also look beautiful and bring traffic to the area, but will also eventually pay taxes. As I said, it's a little bit of a longer letter, but it'll be into the record for all of us. Has anybody raised their hand on Zoom? I don't see anybody. There's one. Laura. We're going to ask you to unmute in a second, Laura. Can we do that? There we go. Go ahead. Laura, state your name and your address for the record, please.
Laura Carter. I'm not comfortable giving my address, but I can call in the town clerk if you'd like and give it privately.
That's fine.
I have 3 topics, so I'm going to keep them as short as possible. I'm also in support of Wheeler Clinic, very much so. As far as the development downtown, I would love to see, someone talked about privacy for patients at Wheeler Clinic. I think if there were some shade trees around, it would help immensely with privacy. Just a few trees, like at the other place where there's something also mental health across the street. And also with the park development, some large shade trees would go a long way to help the city look a little bit more attractive. My second thing is I was a little bit concerned about the regulations for what appear will be masking for the Board of Education. I think that's up to the state and the city. I'm not really too concerned about the masking. I think people in Bristol are pretty good. However, I was a little bit concerned with the language of the resolution where it says one thing, that the city is best to determine constitutional rights of city residents. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. And I'm just wondering, I just don't want to see this resolution to be used for more than the masking mandates. Other Board of Education issues that might come up, such as the CRT or banning books. I would just hope that that would not cover anything like that. And my third issue is something that's been coming up quite a bit with the Covanta moving in, with increased toxins from burning medical waste. I know that some people are working with the Ordinance Committee to try and get some, to try to get air pollution regulations back into the city and to try to come up with something that will help with monitoring the emissions from Covanta. What this would do is we would become the Northeast, the only place in the Northeast to be burning medical waste. And Covanta is going to tell you all they want that there's not going to be additional emissions. But if there aren't going to be additional emissions, then why don't they want to test for them? So I'm in favor of there being an ordinance which would require continuous monitoring on several things, or at least once a year is kind of crazy. But there are things like toxins that are going to be more heavy because of increased plastic, increased heavy metals, and increased particulate matter. So I would just so much be happy if that could be taken up. And that's it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Laura.
Bye-bye.
I don't see any other hands raised. I'll give you a second if anybody else wants to unmute to speak, but I think that's all the public participation that I have. Was there anybody else in the audience? Okay. Hearing none, I think most of you came here tonight to discuss and hear about Wheeler Clinic. That wasn't officially placed on the agenda due to timing issues and a bunch of other things, but under new business, I would entertain a motion to move new business up to the next agenda item so that we can deliberate those new business items.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, motion carries. Andrew, I think you have the first motion under new business.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor or the acting mayor to execute a purchase and sale agreement with Wheeler Health for the purchase and development of an approximately 1 acre property known as Parcel 4 and a portion of Parcel 3 as shown on the map concept plan, Hope Street subdivision, February 2nd, 2022 for the purchase price of $600,000 and to refer the matter to the Office of Corporation Counsel for review.
And can I have a second?
Second.
So, Andrew, I'll let you speak in a second, but we have a large audience here and a large audience at home. Just want to make sure that everybody knows the procedure of what happened. So at the ECD meeting on Thursday, this is a motion that came forward to us. There was an awful lot of moving parts with Wheeler over the last week or two, really, and I appreciate the patience of the entire city council and all of you. So this is our time to debate it and go ahead and speak about it, and I'll give it to you first, Andrew.
I've had a lot of thought and a lot of passion that has gone into this over the last couple of weeks. The project's goal has always been to provide children and families the much careful support. I'm pleased to announce my support for the project for the City Council. Over the last month, I've been able to perform considerable due diligence, which includes meetings with stakeholders and experts in the field of construction, economic development, and mental health services. All have led me to this decision tonight to make the right decision for the families and for our city. As stated at last month's meeting, we were diligent in seeking alternative locations for the clinic, but the Center Square ended up being the best fit. The alternative plan was born out of much deliberation, but has had a little bit of positive impact on our downtown and is more aligned with the long-term economic and development goals of our city. This new plan keeps Wheeler in a centralized location while giving the council an opportunity to market the other piece of the subdivision to the other businesses in order to bring the feet downtown after the 9 to 5 hours are over. The era of a barren, broken parking lot has finally come to an end. This project's goal has been to provide children and families greater access to the services Wheeler Health Clinic provides. We are currently in a mental health crisis, and access to help is a key part of battling mental health issues. I am proud that Bristol can be part of the solution in helping Wheeler provide these services to the greater Bristol area. I want to put all of my thanks to Sabrina and her staff for making this project come to fruition and have the patience with the City Council.
Thank you, Andrew. And I think to make this easier, I'm going to start on my far left and see what the councilors would like to say. So Jackie, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to thank the many Bristol residents, both in and outside of my district, that reached out to me to express their opposition to the Wheeler project in Center Square. I believe in the treatment of mental health, and I believe in the services that Wheeler provides. Like many of you, Wheeler has in the past touched the lives of people that I know. I applaud the professionals that make it their life's work to helping those in need. I respect those of you in favor of the project that reached out to me asking me to change my vote. We all have a right to our beliefs and the right to express them. I did give the issue at hand a great deal of reconsideration. I was elected to represent and serve all of District 2, not just a few. I have faith in the people of Bristol that you will respect my decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Susan?
Thank you, Mayor. Our life would definitely have been a lot easier if this matter had been concluded prior to November 8th of last year. But that wasn't the case, and no one ever promised us that this was going to be easy. The fact that this matter had been worked on by the previous administration and was voted on by the ECD board was not lost on any of us. But none of those factors negated the fact that we were then, now, public officials elected to make the best decisions for Bristol. I am no stranger to mental health services, both professionally and personally. I, like you, all of you, have experienced firsthand the difficult road that one faces when their mental well-being is being fractured. I have no issues with Wheeler Clinic. I recognize them as one of our greatly needed and respected mental health service providers here in Bristol. I admire Wheeler Clinic's CEO, Sabrina Chachki. She is passionate and a successful leader of this company.
You're going to bed. You can have one more snack.
I hope that wasn't for me.
Sorry, Leo.
Sue, apologize for that. Continue. I think we have it under control.
Is Leo asleep?
He will be now.
I need to start over. I
We did this
admire.
once before. We got the fire chief here. There's no fire alarm.
I admire Wheeler's CEO, Sabrina Chachki. She is a passionate and successful leader for this company. I do not fault her for wanting her new building in a prime location and launching the public appeal campaign in the media and on Facebook to accomplish her goal. It is a genius marketing plan, and Wheeler is extremely fortunate to have Sabrina. On December 14th, I did vote no on the Wheeler project. This was not an easy thing to do. I disappointed some and received approval from others. That vote was based on many factors gathered from an extensive due diligence process. My professional knowledge and experience, conversation with residents and business owners from downtown in areas outside of downtown, consults with other professionals in the real estate field, discussions with our regulatory departments, and review of the Center Square master plan. I do concur with the sentiment that I have heard for a very long time from both sides of the aisle. The city of Bristol should not be in the real estate market. We can all agree that we're not very good at this. There is a common thought that no one wants us and that we should just jump at the first viable suitor who comes along. I just want to put in the record that I think our process is a little flawed. We have not necessarily always taken advantage of this amazing real estate market, nor have we utilized the proper real estate professionals and marketing options. This was something that weighed into part of my decision. I do agree, though, that some of the changes that were made and some of the improvements that were made from the original plans are a better fit than the original plans. But even with that, and based on the totality of all of the pieces in this master plan, I still believe that this is not necessarily the best use and fit to complete Center Square. And I don't necessarily agree that it will boost our economic development to the extent that some do think. But with having said that, perhaps someday in the future, I will be in the position to publicly say I was wrong. I do want to thank everyone who reached out to me and shared their thoughts on this issue, especially those who engaged in respectful and productive dialogue. And lastly, I do want to give a grateful nod to the few members of the previous administration who opened themselves to me. Two of them I had the pleasure of having coffee with, and one I have been emailing the last couple of days. I thank them for sharing background information and their thoughts on this subject and additional insight, and that I do greatly appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Cheryl?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And I would just like to start by restating that for me, this has never been a referendum on mental health. My December 14th decision was based on location, what might have been best for Bristol, what was best for economic growth of our city, and what was best for Wheeler and their community that they serve. When I ran for council, I did make certain promises, and one was to be as transparent as possible, so residents would know why decisions were shared and how I arrived at those decisions. To that end, I do believe I was very concise in sharing the reason for my December vote. This project has been like peeling an onion. Despite exhaustive research, discussions, interviews, there were a few facts that I did not learn or weren't disclosed till after that December 14th vote. One such fact, in fact, that I believe the mayor was not aware of, was in order to satisfy the covenant of a grant that Wheeler was awarded to purchase the property, the new facility had to be constructed within the boundaries of a socio-economic grid for accessibility for the clients that they would serve. This extremely narrow slice of Bristol ruled out some wonderful options that would have been strong contenders for this facility. To say this was a game changer is an understatement. Since that vote, many on this council, the mayor, Wheeler, and other local developers have been working diligently to see if an alternative location could be found which would be suitable within that bandwidth. I appreciate the efforts of CEO Sabrina Trocchi. Trocchi. Thank you. I've heard it pronounced a couple ways. And her team to seriously consider each option. Unfortunately, this was not successful to satisfy the time constraints that Wheeler faced. Faced with no other options, I do want to thank the ECD for making necessary changes to allow both Wheeler and the remaining property to be sizable enough to accommodate an option that will bring an entertainment, retail, dining, or whatever option that many in town have been waiting for. This was critical as the prior space on the parcel was limited in size and attractive to developers. Moving the green also made perfect sense to where the former patch was, because outside of a patio or parking, it could not be developed due to underground existing conduits. And now a bigger green can accommodate community functions such as our farmers market. It helped that last week's newly executed sales agreement on Lot 10 specified that the first floor must have a restaurant or retail option, better fulfilling the stated purpose called for in the Plan of Development and Conservation. I am hopeful that some of the 17,000 square feet under the Carrier project will also result in such a business, but there are no constraints, and some of the space could end up as offices with a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 option. I also promised to listen to my constituency. I have many who do not support the Wheeler in the downtown parcel, and this has lately been matched by the ferocity of supporters. Many supporters have come forward in the last several weeks, and all of us on council welcome any input from any resident, no matter which way they fall, because that's important for us to know what people think, and we love that you're involved in city decisions. I had a very informative meeting with the CEO, and we discussed services that would be available at the downtown location. Because since the December 14th vote, I did have some constituents voice concerns for services that would be provided. And I want to assure any who are listening that the facility clientele will pose no concerns more than you would expect in your neighborhood shopping center or on your street or in your neighborhood. They're your neighbors. We further discussed other options, such as promoting services for veterans suffering from PTSD and the availability of their training center, which could be available to local business and service agencies. And I'm excited to see those become an opportunity for our community. Lastly, while the tax-exempt status was not a motivating factor in my decision of December 14th, I fully appreciate the concern of taxpayers and will look to help push for additional pilot funds while working to reduce the tax burden through prudent spending and smaller government. With this all said, my vote is yes to approve the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. You're up next. Go ahead, Jolene.
I will be voting yes to the Wheeler project, and I would like to take the opportunity to explain why. I was not in favor of this project in December and still believe that an entertainment destination is more appropriate. I do think that Bristol residents want something more than another medical building. However, the site plans have changed since December meeting, which now adds up to 35,000 square foot building for a business to come and give us what we want, something family and community oriented. These projects are not always cut and dry, and there are sacrifices and compromises that need to be made to try to appease the greatest number of people. At least now the changes in the remaining parcels will allow me and our council to give the residents something that we have been asking for, something for our kids, our community, and for our families.
Thank you, Jolene. Sebastian?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think my position has changed too much since our last vote on this. I appreciate Councilman Howe's comments on Wheeler. I spoke with Justin Malley today, and I think kind of a side issue that we've talked about in regards to this project is parking. I think we're going to be talking about parking. Whoever's up behind this dais in the future, that's going to be an issue with the downtown long after we stop talking about Wheeler. But there's a pretty viable parking plan and parking along Riverside, which I think is nicely centrally located. So I think that's a good part of this plan because we have to really think about everything when we're trying to put the pieces together. So I'm glad that's a part of it, and I appreciate Dr. Trokey's patience, and I know I've talked to you, and I appreciate your patience with us, the prior administration, all the work that they did, ECD, who I know is here, Mayor Caggiano, a ton of work on this. I don't think 60 years of what we had downtown amounts to a vote on the Wheeler Clinic. I think we have a long way to go if we want to see a successful downtown, but I'm still in favor of it.
Thank you, Sebastian. I'd just like to sum this up to say that I'm glad we got Sabrina's name right for once here, too, so thank you, Dr. Trokey. This decision has been pretty simple for me at the very beginning. 60 years ago, we started downtown revitalization, and there's an awful lot of pieces that are moving in the right direction. And I sat down with Sabrina and her team very early on, which was a benefit of mine, and we decided that we would look for another place if we could find it, and if we didn't, we would come back to the drawing board and try to make it happen. We have made significant changes that I think will open up downtown development, as people have mentioned, for greater ease of parking. And really, the shared parking concept is one that I don't want to underestimate here. Whatever we put down in the rest of downtown and the surrounding area needs to be looked at. The only other factor that I say that I want to really highlight from this team is the fact that we have a mixed use of a lot of daytime activity at Wheeler, and a commitment from day one when I sat down with Sabrina to go ahead and share that parking for the nights and weekends when this would be available is extremely important. Aside from the vote that we have tonight, and I actually, in one way, hope we have a unanimous vote tonight, but whatever the vote is tonight, I think the other thing that's come through very loud and clear for me is that we have had a great community discussion around mental health. And there is a lot of misinformation out there, and I think that mental health is a regular health care crisis in this city, and we have had a great business in Wheeler Clinic that has provided that to us and to our kids. And I was on the Board of Ed, and they were coming into the Board of Ed buildings when I was on the Board of Ed. And for me, this is a great sign for Bristol to know that we will honor our commitments to legitimate businesses downtown. Last thing I do want to say is I give huge credit to this entire team. One of the most difficult things we will probably face as a team, and I hope it will be, but I'm very proud of this team for sticking in there and getting through this. So thank you all for that. I think we're ready for a vote, and I would like to do a roll call vote because I think that's appropriate on such a topic like this. So I'll ask Therese to do a roll call vote for us.
Okay, we'll start on the end. Paniotto?
Yes.
Lusitani?
Yes.
Tebow?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Tyler?
No.
Olson?
No.
Chair votes yes. Motion carries. Thank you. I think we have one other new business item, so we're on new business. I'll ask Cheryl to bring that forward. For the audience, I mean, I hope many of you stay. We did move this up for you, but I know what's going to happen here, and I just want you all to know that typically new business doesn't come up this way. We wait till the end, but I'll give you a minute for those of that you do have to get home to family and put your kids to bed.
Wow.
There's more exciting stuff on the agenda, too.
Yeah, right. And we know we're Tony and Don.
Okay, they're being pretty quiet. Why don't we keep moving, Cheryl? Go ahead and
Okay.
put forward the motion.
Okay. Through the
And
chair.
Can we get a motion to bring it on the table?
what I
Oh,
was gonna
yes,
do.
sorry, yes.
Through the chair, I'd like to make a motion to bring a letter of intent to the council.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we do the motion. Thank you,
Okay.
Therese.
I would like to make a motion to approve the letter of intent between the City of Bristol and the Connecticut Green Bank regarding a solar photovoltaic? Thank you, voltaic, hooray, on the rooftop of the Beal Center at 240 Stafford Ave, and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute the letter of intent.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion on this, I think all of you received this. I will just say that one of the things that we do need to look forward to is green energy, and I'm proud to say that I was on the Board of Ed when we started putting these things on roofs. I think it's a great idea, and the only reason this is coming up under new business is because the timing of the grant is March 4th, so we don't like to do business that way, but I just wanted to bring that up. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to number 4, announcements. Everybody left. They're not going to hear our announcements, the most important part. But I will start on my right this time. How about you, Sebastian? Do you have any announcements?
Sure, I do. I have one announcement. I'd like to thank the efforts of the Veterans Strong Community Center for their Valentines for Veterans initiative over the past several weeks. They collected over 700 Valentines for distribution to local veterans who live in Bristol and the surrounding areas, as well as the State VA Hospital, to show our gratitude and appreciation for their service. I spoke to Donna across the hall today and congratulated the team on that effort, especially Maggie Wernicki, who organized most of the collection for this initiative. Maggie's in high school, so thank you for making us all look bad. She did a great job, so it's outstanding effort for all those involved, and I just want to say thank you.
Go ahead, Jolene.
Yes, Youth Commission. The Youth Commission is now accepting applications for the 2022 Youth Recognition Award. These awards go out to the youths who have shown amazing service and have made a meaningful contribution to their school, service, agency, and our community. The application is available on the www.bristolrec.com website. Also, it was sent out to school administrators and other youth services. The application can be dropped off or mailed to the 51 High Street or emailed to the assistant to the superintendent, Jazz Coakley. All applications are due no later than March 31st, and the 30th Annual Youth Recognition Award ceremony will be held at Muzzy Field on May 11th at 6 p.m. Also, I'm sure everybody knows this already, but the Rockwell Lagoon and Page Park Pond has opened up for ice skating. So keep in mind, it is skate at your own risk. The ice is checked daily, so check the updates that will be posted on the Parks and Rec website and social media before you go out and skate. Thank you.
Thank you, Jolene. Cheryl?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. 2 community announcements I'd like to share. For a while there, the Forestville Village Association kind of took a break due to losing their meeting space and some members officially retiring, but they're back and they're better than ever. And so if you want to join the Forestville Village Association, they will be meeting. Their next meeting is February 16th at Asbury Methodist Church at 6 p.m. And from the Pine Lake Committee, I just want to put it on everybody's calendar to save the date for this year's fishing tournament. It's 3 months away, but get that on your calendar for your youth, Saturday, May 7th. And then lastly, I would like to share some, for those at home or watching, as everybody knows, the City Hall is about to be renovated. And so there's some important closures of offices and moving of offices that the public needs to be made aware of. Already, Parks, Recreation, Youth, and Community Services have moved out of this building and is located at 51 High Street at the Youth and Community Services building. Veteran Strong will be moving the first week of March, March 3rd and 4th, to the Beals Senior Center. They will be the next group to move. Other departments are going to move in phases. And this first group is going to move across the block over to the former Webster Bank at 150 Main Street. The mayor's office, Corporation Council, Registrar of Voters will be moving March 1st and 2nd. There will be some closures. There is voter registration available March 1 through 4, but all services will resume for customer-facing ability on Monday, March 7th. The assessors and tax office will be moving on March 3rd and 4th, and no services to the public will be available until Monday, March 7th. Economic and Community Development and Human Resources will be moving on March 11th and 12th with no services anticipated till Monday, March 14th. The staff will be working, they'll just be moving and setting up. Town and City Clerk will be moving March 11th and 12th with an anticipated day of opening on Monday, March 14th. These are all moving to 150 Main Street, again, the former Webster Bank. During this time, To minimize any service disruptions to the general public, the city is asking the public to utilize the online services as much as possible during that. We'll cover the next phase, which is the April moves, at a future meeting. All this information can be found on the city's website or at the bristolallheart.com website. So this is very important. The last thing the city wants is for residents to come here seeking services and not being sure where to go. There will be signage, there will be notices to direct people, but we definitely want to share this news so that our residents do not get interruption of service. And I want to thank all the staff. Dawn is in the audience, who's put together a lot of this, Ray from Public Works, and everybody else who's contributing to a successful move from this property to temporary services, and then ultimately to be back here October 2023?
Yep, that's the goal.
So thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you, Cheryl. Andrew?
Your Honor, can I just add to that?
Sorry.
They didn't talk about closure from my office. My office, because of the volume of records that we are moving and will be moving off-site, we will be closed for service to the public from March 8th through the 11th. That's the only way we can do it, because books are going to have to go from here to there, which means birth, death, marriage books, as well as DD 214s and any of those other documents. We're going to have to wait for new shelving to be put in the new location, removed from here, brought over there, and then those books, moved as well. So it's going to be very difficult for my staff to provide any services during that period of time.
Yep, we'll keep posting this. It'll be on our web pages, mayor's page, all that kind of stuff. So thank you. Yes, appreciate that. Now we'll go to Andrew Howe.
But my other counselors have made my job very easy tonight. The one I will touch first and foremost is City of Bristol Parks, Rec, Youth, and Community Services Superintendent, Dr. Josh Medeiros, was selected to become a faculty member for the prestigious National Recreation and Parks Association Director School. NRPA Director School is an exclusive 2-year professional development program that prepares new and potential parks and rec directors to be effective leaders. Dr. Medeiros will join a small faculty comprised of directors from across the country, including the city of Seattle, Chicago, and Los Angeles. He will be instructing 2 courses, including director's role in advocacy and developing capital improvement plans and financial plans. So I just want to give a big thank you and congratulations to Dr. Josh Medeiros. Not sure if you're still out there or not, but congrats.
Congrats, Josh. There he is.
He is there, okay.
Yep, he said thank you.
And then last one is easy for my council, for my school readiness report. It's time for kindergarten, time to register your children for kindergarten. It opened on February 1st. You can go right to the Board of Education's website to log in and sign up for kindergarten. If your children are in preschool, they will already automatically be enrolled into their district school. So that's the big, big important one from school readiness, is get your kids registered for kindergarten.
Thank you, Andrew. Susan?
Thank you. We have some great news in District 2. The West End Association has 2 of their fundraisers up and going for this year. The West End Festival is returning on August 20th of this year, and for more information, you can visit their website, which is thewestendbristol.org. Also, they have their fundraiser, which contributes to that festival, and they have the Taste of Bristol card that you can purchase. $5 for this card, and all the money goes towards the West End Festival and the cost that it takes to run it, which is a phenomenal festival, which really draws magnificent amounts of people. If anybody would like a Taste of Bristol card, I do have a whole bunch on me, so you can see me after the council meeting. But another thing is that you get, by purchasing this card, you get 20% off of your total check from a huge list of businesses. It is amazing the amount of businesses that did step up to participate with this. When they first started a couple of years ago, the list was much smaller. So this says an awful lot about our restaurants coming together to help support the West End Association. It's phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Jackie, any announcements?
I do. I have 2. The Connecticut Environmental Learning Center has plans for a project named the Wallace Barnes Nature Trail. This trail will enable visitors of every age and ability to enjoy nature. The project is set to break ground in April on Earth Day, which seems appropriate, with an anticipated completion in 2 years. I have an illustration of the trail if anyone's interested in looking at it after the meeting. It's going to be a really, really nice project, and I'm excited that it's going to happen. Secondly, I had the pleasure of touring the Memorial Boulevard School recently, and it just looks fantastic. The workmanship is top-notch, and I think everyone will be very pleased when it's finished. Anyone that serves on a board or a committee can have a tour. But we ask that it be kept to a group of no more than 4 at a time. So anyone who's interested that's on a board or committee can see me to have a tour schedule, or anyone else that's on the Memorial Boulevard Committee. And that's it. And I really think that if you can, do the tour.
Thank you, Jackie. I think you guys covered everything that I might have covered with one exception. I just wanted to make an announcement and a thank you. I'm not sure if he's on or if he's here, but Dave Ratcliffe has helped me out for the last 5 weeks in the mayor's office. By the way, every other mayor's office that I talk to has 5 or 6 staff members helping them out. So we better keep growing that grand list, because I need 5 or 6 Dave Ratcliffes, and he's going to go ahead. Yeah, he is. He's hiding back there. To go with my other great counterpart, Kirsten. So, Kirsten and I will hold down the office. We actually do, I think, still have some part-time funds left, so I would be open to those that might want to come in and help with a lot of the organization that Dave did. We had public comment on a lot of stuff tonight, and we'll cover all of it with the one exception, I think, tonight. I don't think there's anything on air pollution measures, things of that sort, or Covanta, and I know I brought Dave on to really help us get up to speed there. So it's an item that we are working on. Thank you very much, Dave. Good luck up at the state.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to acknowledge how much work Kirsten actually does, the 5 people. We don't need 5 people when we have Kirsten.
She needs a raise. Thank you. That was very nice of you, Andrew. I did get a mention in for her there, but you highlighted it, which is great. All right, no other announcements, so we'll move to number 5, which is the consent calendar.
And there are 10 items, if anybody would like to have one taken off the consent calendar for discussion.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to pull item I from the consent calendar.
Okay. Any others? So then we'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar A through H and J.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. So now, Sebastian, you can do a motion to bring up I guess.
So I'd like to make a motion to withdraw item I from the calendar. I think Chief Hart is here to speak more on a potential revision or a partial disbursement of item I, a withdrawal from that account.
Okay, so you bring up a motion to bring it to the floor now, I. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll have discussion. Let's bring Chief Hart up.
Thank you, members of the council, Mayor Caggiano. I received a letter from the Main Street Community Foundation concerning the Hat Barnes Fire Safety Trailer Fund. I wasn't aware, being new to the department, of this fund that basically disperses money to maintain and provide upkeep for the fire safety trailer. So when I spoke with various people about it, and I talked with Kate down at the Main Street Community, we only needed a partial disbursement. So in talking with her, I figured it would be much cleaner just to withdraw and reinvest this amount of money back into the fund, and we'll, next year, when it comes forward again, we'll do something with it.
Okay, so sorry. So the way I understood it, and I think it actually came for signature, is that this was going to get reinvested into the fund, and we originally were going that direction, but now you want to take some of the funds that they were going to disperse, the $2,500 into our account?
We, in speaking with Kate, it would be much cleaner if we just reinvested the entire amount of the
Okay.
disbursement back into the fund so that we can use it next year.
Okay. I may look for legal help here. I thought I signed one to actually do that. No, so, all right, my bad. So our motion here is to then withdraw this, and we'll get it back on at some next meeting. So I'll entertain a motion to withdraw. Yeah.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. Move forward, we got that right? Good. All right, so we move on to number 6.
It's reports and committee reports and ordinances first.
Yep, so we'll start with you, Susan.
Thank you. I do have 2 motions and a quick report out of the ordinance committee. First, though, through the chair, I would really like us to recognize Dr. Josh Medeiros for all of his work on the 2 motions that we're going to be discussing here in a minute, and also the Parks Board, who thought it was very valuable to put this together for the safety of our children and our families. And I don't know if...
Great. So just if you can read the first one as a motion.
Okay, motion number 1. I hereby move that Section 16-3, Tobacco Products Prohibited in City Parks and Recreational Properties of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, is hereby amended to read as follows. I further move that the city clerk publish said amendments and additions to the Code of Ordinances, and that they become effective upon the expiration of 14 days from the date of their publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the City of Bristol.
I have a second.
Second?
Any other discussion on this? Sue, do you want to give us any high level? No? We've talked about this before. I think it's come before us. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to B.
Okay. I hereby move that Section 16-7, Definitions of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, is hereby amended to read as follows. I further move that the city clerk publish said amendments and additions to the Code of Ordinances, and that they become effective upon the expiration of 14 days from the date of their publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the City of Bristol.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, those are all the motions to go forward. Sue, do you have anything else from your committees?
One further update. In December, January, and February's ordinance meetings, we have had numerous residents come to our ordinance committee and speak about their concerns and thoughts on air quality issues in our neighborhoods. These people have been very sincere. We have been really impressed with the number of people who have taken time out of their day to come to our meeting and to discuss in public participation something that is very near and dear to their heart, the safety of our community. We have also, at this point, we have asked the Corporation Counsel's Office to give us some guidance, and currently that's where we're at with that. We're relatively new to this committee, but we are committed to finding answers and solutions. We are open to listening to all input from the residents who come and speak with us. We will do our homework, and we will get as much input as we can from as many sources as possible, so that we are fully informed. We will share any updates and further information with the council moving forward.
Thank you, Sue. And I just also want to put it on the record, and I don't even know if I've told the whole team this, but I am actually now an executive member on the BRRFOC, so we're looking into these issues and trying to work with Covanta and air quality. This is going to take some time. I will just also add kind of parenthetically that a lot of this stuff is driven at the state level. And so happy to see some state representatives in here that might actually have some influence up in Hartford. And we'll be happy to work with them as well. Thank you, Sue. Any other committee reports? Nope. Jackie, do you have any committee reports?
I do not.
Andrew?
I'm good this month.
Cheryl?
All set.
Jolene?
Yes. The Northeast Middle School Building Committee had voted on appointing a chair, and that was Daniel Sandstrom. He's the principal of Northeast. We came as a committee together to look at 4 firms that came in for an interview. After 5+ hours of listening to the interviews from these firms, we came to a majority vote that QA&M will be the firm who will be working on that project. Board of Education, last Tuesday, the Board of Education proposed a resolution that I will be addressing shortly. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you, sorry, was distracted. You all set, Jolene? Good. Sebastian, any other committee reports? I don't have anything else to report myself, so we will move on to number 7, which is unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? No, we've already covered number 8, new business, so we'll go to number 9, resignations. Go ahead,
And
Therese.
We have 4 resignations. The first is from Kevin Fuller from the Board of Police Commissioners. The second is from Orlando Calfee from the Retirement Board. The third is from Kimberly Ploshai from the Bristol Burlington Health District. And the last one is from Dante Tagarello from the Charter Revision Commission.
Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion to accept those resignations and send a letter of thanks.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we move on to my favorite part of this whole agenda. Number 10, appointments. We're going to start out with ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act Task Force, and I think I can do both of these together. We need to rescind the appointment of Jay Maya, who can't serve on the board, and I think we did that maybe 2 months ago. But we do have a new member to appoint, and I would like to get the council's approval to appoint Mark Peterson to the American Rescue Plan Task Force.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. All right, next is City Arts and Culture Commission to replace Lindsay Vigu, who resigned to an unexpired term of that goes to 6/2024, and appoint Walter Lewandowski in her place.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now on the Diversity Council, we need to replace Daniel Mina, a Section 2.9 resignation, and we're going to appoint David Ratcliffe. We're going to replace Kelly Browning, another Section 2.9 resignation, with Kelly Pacheco Houston. And we're going to replace William Stortz, which is a Section 2.9 resignation, with Derek Jones. And we'll also replace Leah Burnett, Section 2.9 resignation, with Jamie Bianca.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Now for the Esser ARP Building Committee. This is a mayor's appointment, so I will just announce that we are going to appoint our council member, Jolene Lusitani, to that board. Bristol Burlington Health District. So to replace Kimberly Ploget, who resigned to an unexpired term of 7/24, we would like to appoint James Moylan. Yes, this needs a motion now, sorry.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm actually getting this down, Cheryl.
Okay.
Bristol Historic District Commission to reappoint or replace, we're actually going to replace, we're going to reappoint, Karen Stevens to a 5-year term that expires on 1/2027. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, Bristol Parking Authority. Nope, we're not doing anything there, sorry, hang on. We are down to the Planning Commission. We are going to replace Jeffrey Hayden as an alternate, who resigned on 11/20/21 to an unexpired term that expires 7/31/2025, and we're going to appoint Tony Lorenzetti. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, any discussion? Oh, I thought you were going to discuss. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, now on the Board of Police Commissioners, I think he's in the audience, we are going to replace Kevin Fuller, who resigned 1/11/2022 to an unexpired term to 12/22, and we're going to appoint Scott Rosado. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? You sure we want to do this?
Back out now.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Scott. All right, Board of Public Works. We need to replace Donald Padlow for a 3-year term that now expires on 2/2025. I think Don served on this board for almost 50 years, by the way, so a great man, and we actually need to not move forward with him because of minority representation. But we are going to appoint David Hartley. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, Retirement Board. We need to replace Orlando Calfee, who resigned. There's a 3-year term that goes to 2/2025, and we're going to appoint David Mykowski.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion, anybody opposed? Motion carries. Zoning Commission, just a few more. We're going to replace Blake Delabianca as an alternate on the Zoning Commission. He was a Section 2-9 resignation. He has an unexpired term that goes to 6/2023, and we're going to appoint Rich Goodwin. Can I have
So
a
moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, now on Charter Revision, we are going to replace Dante Tagriello, who had to resign, and appoint John Lafreniere to replace him.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No? And then this last one, I think, is one that I just need to announce, but you let me know. On the Fire Board, I don't think we officially appointed Andrew Howe as our council appointee to replace Jackie Olson. Do we need a vote on that one? We do, because he is a member. So I will ask for a motion.
So moved.
Yeah. Second?
Second.
Yeah, you better not do
I don't
that.
know. Can we talk about this one? No.
We might want to talk about this one a lot longer than we talked about the Rosado one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Any that I missed, Therese? Excellent. Yes.
Yay.
And I guess my last announcement on this is we have a few other boards, and some of the boards that don't meet that often may be open. I still want people to bring their names in. We need a bench. I think we've pretty much filled all the gaps, and we will continue to make minor adjustments, and some of these terms will expire pretty soon, but I think we've finally caught up to that. So congratulations. That was pretty big tonight as well, too. Next on the agenda is number 11.
To approve contract 2P2251B, professional architectural engineering services relative to construction of a new Northeast Middle School with Quisenberry Arcari Malik LLC for $222,660, and authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute.
Great. This is a resolution. Can I have somebody?
Actually, it's just a motion.
Oh, these are just a motion. So can,
So moved.
Second. Oh, I'll let Jolene second that.
it's Jolene's, it's hers, yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 12.
To approve the change orders at the Memorial Boulevard Intra-District Arts Magnet School for Damato Downs, a joint venture totaling $41,790.54, and authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute.
Move approval.
I give that one to Cheryl, I think. Who seconded?
Jackie.
Jackie will be second then. We'll get her next time. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 13.
To approve the change orders at the Memorial Boulevard Intra-District Arts Magnet School for Damato Downs, a joint venture totaling $94,727.66, and authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 14.
To approve the change orders at the Memorial Boulevard Intra-District Arts Magnet School for Damato Downs, a joint venture, totaling $3,358.23, and authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, by the way, last one of these, but I hear we're coming in under budget and on time for the Boulevard, so this is good to see these. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 15.
To approve the agreement for services between the City of Bristol and Locality Media Incorporated for the Bristol Fire Department to access first due size-up for $19,950 plus an annual subscription, and authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute.
Entertain a motion.
Move
So
approval.
So Susan has the motion, and we give Cheryl the second. There was a question on this one, I know, too. Jackie, you had a question. I think some other people are asking questions, and we have Chief Hart here, too. So maybe let me just bring it up for a second, Chief Hart, to remind people what this is. This is our software, right? That's.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Again, thank you, council members. December 31st of this year, Firehouse software is not going to be supported anymore. That is the time and attendance and National Fire Incident Reporting System software that we use to report fire incidences to the state as well as the federal government as mandated. So we did an investigation and compared different softwares that were out there that the fire service uses for time and attendance and NFIRS reporting, and we came to the conclusion that first due software would be the best fit for us, would make us more agile and able to provide more information and data. Also reach out to the community through a Community Connect module to engage the community. It also allows us to do inspections on a tablet, which will expedite inspections to businesses throughout the city. It also handles our schedule and personnel data, so that we'll be able to better track information, overtime, and sick leave, et cetera. And I noticed in the motion it says $19,850 or $950, I'm sorry, plus an annual fee. It's actually $1,500 to start up, and $18,450 is the annual subscription for this software. This was also about $8,000 cheaper than the other product that's out there. So I respectfully request you approve this for the mayor's signature.
Great. Any other questions for Chief Hart? Go ahead, Cheryl.
Just through the chair, I want to thank the chief. He and I had a great discussion about the software, and I'm really excited about some of the flexibility, but also some of the time savings. This may save his staff, especially his deputies that have to do the scheduling, and also with that interface with the public and being able to, record information. This is a good step. So, good find, and I'm happy to support this.
Thank you.
No, I think we're good here. Unless you have other questions. Yep. I know this came through the Board of Finance. I was very supportive of this as
Chair,
well.
if I could
Go ahead,
just ask,
Sebastian.
Currently, what the system we have in place now, what are the yearly costs for what we have now?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a dated system, essentially?
It's 1990s technology or 1990s software. It's $5,200 a year, which doesn't give us any support. We can't get any tech support from them, and it also is very limited in the data that it produces for us. As I said to the Board of Finance, I can't even run an overtime report from it. But it does, it won't be supported, it won't be in existence after December of this year. So I thought it prudent that we would only enter into a 6-month contract with them, which was $2,600, so it expires July 1st, knowing that it wasn't going to be supported and to be ready to go July 1 at the beginning of the new fiscal year.
Thank you for the prudent fiscal conservative question. We did go through that quite a bit at the Board of Finance, but that's good. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Chief Hart.
Thank you, Chief.
Do I have the right one? Number 16.
Yep.
To approve the submission of an application for funds to the Connecticut State Historic Preservation Office for a Historic Restoration Fund grant and authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute and refer to Board of Finance.
Motion?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Number 17.
To approve the contract amendment between the City of Bristol and New Colony Development Corporation for land banking services at 273 Riverside Avenue, known as the Sessions Building, and authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this one? You're all familiar with this project. That's the Sessions project.
Just
Questions?
one,
Yep, go
one
ahead.
thing that I just want to clarify, because when I see, and I'm certain on this, because it says not to succeed, so we're capped at our legal fees on that transfer act, correct?
Yes, yeah.
I just wanted to double check
The funding
that.
for this has been set aside, and the
Yeah.
contract amendment will get us to our funding limit.
And if it exceeds, it's on them, on New Colony.
We'll work with New Colony on that.
Thank you, I just always have to ask that. Thank you.
Another good fiscal conservative question. Like it. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And 18.
Resolution regarding an endorsement by the Bristol City Council to rescind the executive authority created in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which overrides proper local control of government in Bristol.
So move.
Well,
Would somebody like to read the
go
resolution?
ahead. We'll have,
Sorry.
that's all right. She's just rushing us out of here now. Go ahead, Jolene. I think that one's in your hands.
Whereas the state of Connecticut has been operating under a state of public health emergency declared by Governor Lamont for nearly 2 full years, and whereas our local government has been restricted in making policy for our town and our school system by the actions of Governor Lamont and state government agencies under his control, including but not limited to the State Department of Public Health and the State Department of Education. And whereas state government and the governor of the state of Connecticut are poised in the next several weeks to adopt legislation extending the authority of the governor unilaterally to override the proper power of local government. And whereas there is no current emergency which prevents or prohibits state or local government from meeting to make policy for their constituents. And whereas the people of Bristol have spoken and expect the city council to act on their behalf to defend their constitutional freedoms and to set policies for our town. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Bristol City Council, in regular session, assembled, calls upon the governor of the state of Connecticut and the Connecticut General Assembly to rescind any executive authority created in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which overrides the proper local control of the government of the city of Bristol. I move that we approve the resolution as written.
And Jackie, do you want to
So
second
moved.
that then? Yes. Any comment on that? Jolene, you want to say anything? You were at the Board of Ed meeting where I think some of this kind of
Yes.
arose from.
I will say that the passion from the residents, the parents, and the children were extremely moving at the Board of Education meeting last week. I will also add that we have been living with COVID for 2+ years, and it has shown us that this virus is not or will be going away anytime in the near future. We cannot live under the emergency executive powers for the rest of our lives, and it's time to move along and give back the power to the local government.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments?
I further support that it's time our residents have elected officials to lead them at the local, state level, and it's time that those powers are restored at the voice of the people.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Ditto.
Good. I actually do have one thing to read here, too. This is probably the least transparent thing that I have done in my term here. On Tuesday, November 30th, this is a letter I wrote to our emergency director. On Tuesday, November 30th, I, Jeff Caggiano, the mayor of Bristol, rescind the proclamation dated March 19th, 2020 at 7:40 a.m. The city of Bristol will end the state of emergency for COVID-19 pandemic. I think many of my team might have known that I've done that. I'm sure the public wasn't aware that I did that. I had a couple other statements. We kept optional masking available here. We adhered to guidelines. I pushed forth the fact that vaccines are a good thing to do. But at that time, it was before the last surge that we had, which arguably is the greatest number of infections that we've seen throughout this endemic, up to 38% positivity. And our government has functioned very well. And by the way, I'm very proud of the way we functioned here tonight. But I just think it's further evidence that the state needs to allow the legislature to come back in. I think the governor may have heard us, by the way, because it's looking like he may take back the mask mandates, but I think it's great that we're putting this forward.
Agreed.
So, any other comments? As a resolution, we have to do a roll call vote, correct? Well, I'll call the roll. Sebastian?
Yes.
Jolene?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes. Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. I like that one, and they all left for that. We should have moved that one up, by the way, but that's all right. And I believe that there is no other business before us.
Through the chair.
Oh, there is?
Yes,
Go ahead.
I'm just would like to ask, that during the move, that special care is done for the new artwork that's
Oh, yes,
appearing
thank you for bringing
in
that up.
our council chambers today. Congratulations on having your picture added to the gallery.
Yes, without the tie. No tie. There it is. We are talking about moving it over to the new city hall, so I'll work with Ray. It might be big for all of them. Maybe it's just mine. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Thank you, Cheryl. Any other business to come before the council tonight? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.